Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling a topic that's super important, but also pretty often gets buried under a whole lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
And that is sexual wellness.
Right.
We're going to be digging through research and articles and expert opinions just to really try to unpack the truth about sexual health.
Yes.
We're going to debunk some persistent myths
For sure.
and answer some of those frequently asked questions that I think, people are maybe a little too shy to ask, but really want the answers to.
It's funny how many misconceptions there are around this topic.
Yeah.
And so today we're going to be drawing on kind of a mix of, more traditional wisdom like Ayurveda and the latest scientific research.
Right.
And try to use those things to help you navigate what is a kind of a complicated and often confusing landscape.
Exactly. And I think that's what we're here for, right? To try to break it down and make it approachable. So
Yeah.
I guess let's just jump right in. One of the sort of biggest myths out there that I hear a lot is this idea that low libido is a prominent problem.
Mm-hmm.
So is that really true? Is it a life sentence if you're experiencing low libido?
Absolutely not. Libido is really dynamic and fluctuates due to a ton of factors.
Oh, okay.
So think of it like a barometer for your overall well-being.
Okay.
Are you stressed at work?
Mm-hmm.
Are you not sleeping well?
I see.
Are there hormonal shifts going on?
Yeah.
Even things like, your gut health can impact your desire.
I never thought about that gut health connection before. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it can be pretty profound.
So if someone's experiencing low libido, then what can they do?
Well, the first thing is to kind of figure out, what might be at the root of the issue.
Okay.
And then from there, you can kind of explore, different approaches.
Okay.
Some people might find that hormone therapy, like testosterone therapy, is really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Others might prefer a more natural remedy. In Ayurveda, for example, herbs like ashwagandha and shatavari are traditionally used to support libido and balance hormones.
So it's really about kind of personal preference and what works best for each person.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll see this theme come up again and again.
Right.
It's like there's not really a one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about another one, another big myth, I feel like, especially for men.
Okay.
This idea that erectile dysfunction, or ED, only affects older men.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any truth to that?
It's a really common misconception.
Yeah.
And thankfully, it's just not true.
Okay.
While ED does become more prevalent with age,
Right.
can affect men of all ages.
I see.
Stress in particular plays a huge role, and we're seeing that more and more in younger demographics.
Really?
But there's also, other factors to consider: underlying health conditions, certain medications,
Yeah.
and even lifestyle choices.
So it's not just an age thing. It's really more a reflection of overall health and well-being.
Precisely. And just like with libido,
Mm-hmm.
there are different avenues you can explore to address ED.
Okay.
Medications like sildenafil, which is more commonly known as Viagra,
Right.
can be effective for many men. It works by increasing blood flow to the penis.
Okay.
But it's essential to talk to your doctor about potential side effects and
Yeah.
whether it's the right option for you.
That makes sense. And are there any natural approaches that people could consider as well?
There are traditional systems of medicine.
Yeah.
They offer some interesting options.
Okay.
In Ayurveda, there's an herb called gokshura,
Okay.
and it's been used for centuries
Yep.
to kind of support male vitality
Wow.
and address concerns like ED.
So again, it's kind of like a spectrum of options you can explore,
Exactly.
from modern medicine to ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's one that I think a lot of people wonder about.
Okay.
Does frequent sex actually cause erectile dysfunction?
That's a great question, and thankfully another myth we can bust.
Okay, good.
Regular sexual activity is actually beneficial
Oh.
for both cardiovascular and reproductive health.
Wow. Okay.
Think of it like exercise for your sexual system.
Interesting.
It kind of keeps things functioning optimally.
Okay, that's reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about menopause.
Right.
There's this misconception out there that menopause signals the end of a woman's sex life.
Yeah.
All of a sudden a switch flips and desire just disappears. Is that really the case?
Not at all.
Okay.
Menopause is a natural transition, and it absolutely does not mean the end of sexual desire or pleasure.
Okay.
While it's true that hormonal changes can occur during this phase of life,
Right.
there are definitely ways to manage those changes and maintain a vibrant sex life.
So it's more about adapting and finding what works for you as your body changes.
Exactly. Some women find that hormone therapy helps to alleviate symptoms and maintain libido.
Okay.
And just like with other areas of sexual health,
Mm-hmm.
there natural remedies that can be supportive. For instance, the Ayurvedic herb shatavari is traditionally used to nourish the female reproductive system
Okay.
and help women navigate the transitions of menopause with greater ease.
It's amazing how many tools and options are out there.
Yeah, there really are.
Okay, so this next one is something that I think causes a lot of shame and secrecy,
Okay.
which it shouldn't. And that's the idea that using lubricants is somehow like a sign of a problem.
This is a myth that needs to be debunked immediately.
Yes.
Using lubricants is incredibly common and beneficial, regardless of age or relationship status.
Right.
Lubricants can actually enhance comfort and pleasure,
Yeah.
reduce friction,
Right.
and even prevent, discomfort during intimacy.
So it's not like a sign that something's wrong.
Right.
It's really just like enhancing the experience.
Exactly. The key is to choose a lubricant that's right for you.
Okay.
Look for options that are pH balanced or natural, like coconut oil,
Mm-hmm.
to maintain a healthy vaginal environment.
Okay. And speaking of vaginal health, let's talk about dryness for a second. Right.
Is it true that vaginal dryness only affects older women?
That's another common misconception.
Okay.
Vaginal dryness can actually occur at any age
Oh, wow.
due to a variety of factors.
Why?
Hormonal fluctuations, stress, certain medications, and even just dehydration.
Oh, so it's really something that a lot of women might experience at some point.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And just like with, other concerns, there are solutions available.
Okay.
Lubricants are a great first line of defense.
Mm-hmm.
Some women find relief with estrogen creams.
Okay.
And there are also natural remedies that can be helpful,
Yeah.
like aloe vera gel, which can soothe and moisturize delicate tissues.
So many options.
Yeah.
Okay, let's debunk this other myth that I think has been around for way too long.
Okay.
And that is the idea that masturbation causes weakness.
Oh, gosh.
Like, where did that even come from?
I know. It's so interesting, right?
Yeah.
This myth is rooted in outdated and frankly harmful beliefs about sexuality.
Right.
Masturbation is a completely normal and healthy activity.
In fact, it can be a wonderful way to explore your own body, learn what feels good, and release tension.
Right.
It only becomes an issue if it starts to feel compulsive or it interferes with your daily life.
So it's about finding that healthy balance.
Exactly.
And if you are experiencing any of those things like compulsive behavior, there are resources to help with that, right?
Absolutely. There are definitely resources available to help you kind of manage those concerns.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, and practices like yoga and mindfulness can be incredibly helpful for cultivating self-awareness and regulating emotions.
Okay.
So those could be really good tools.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question that I think a lot of people maybe are afraid to ask.
Okay.
Does sexual performance automatically decline with age?
It's not an inevitable decline.
Okay.
While some age-related changes might occur,
Right.
maintaining a healthy lifestyle, managing stress, and kind of exploring different options can help you maintain stamina, vitality, and confidence at any age.
Oh.
Think of it this way, like you wouldn't expect your physical fitness to stay the same
Right.
without putting in any effort, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with sexual fitness.
So you got to stay active and engaged
exactly.
in your sexual well-being.
Right. And there are things you can do to kind of support your sexual health as you age.
Okay.
From traditional remedies, like the Ayurvedic herb-safe muesli,
Oh, okay.
which is known for its stamina-boosting properties,
Wow.
to, modern medical treatments.
So there are a lot of paths you can explore.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something that often gets swept under the rug, but is super important, and that's pain during sex.
Yeah.
Is that something that should just be ignored?
Absolutely not. Pain during sex is never normal and should never be ignored.
Okay.
It could be a sign of an underlying issue that needs to be addressed.
Right.
And while some natural remedies like anti-inflammatory herbs like turmeric might offer temporary relief,
Okay.
it's essential to consult with a healthcare professional to determine the cause of the pain and get appropriate treatment.
So important, because I feel like sometimes we tend to just kind of push things under the rug,
Right.
but it could lead to bigger problems down the road.
Exactly.
So you need to seek help if you need it.
Yeah.
All right, let's address what I think is probably one of the most common anxieties, especially for men,
Okay.
and that's penis size.
All right.
Does it really matter when it comes to sexual satisfaction?
This is a question that is so often distorted by societal pressures and media portrayals.
Yeah, totally.
The truth is, penis size has very little to do with a woman's sexual satisfaction.
Really?
What truly matters is the quality of the connection,
Okay.
communication, and the ability to create a pleasurable experience for both partners.
So it's really about more like the emotional and relational aspects of sex
Exactly.
rather than just the purely physical attributes.
Right.
So I think a lot of men are going to be relieved to hear that.
Yeah.
But for those who are still curious, is there like an ideal size?
The idea of an ideal size is a myth that needs to be challenged.
Yeah.
The focus on size often creates unnecessary anxiety and insecurity.
Right.
And it's important to remember that, bodies come in all shapes and sizes.
Of course.
And there's a wide range of
Yeah.
what's considered normal.
So you shouldn't compare yourself to some, arbitrary standard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The research actually shows that the average penis size when erect falls between 4 and 6 inches.
Yeah, okay.
But that's just an average.
Well, yeah.
Variations are perfectly normal.
So it sounds like focusing on mutual pleasure and connection is way more important than obsessing over size.
Absolute open communication with your partner.
Yeah.
Exploring different techniques and discovering what feels good for both of you
Right.
will lead to a much more fulfilling experience than,
Than worrying about meeting some standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about another common concern.
Okay.
Duration.
Correct.
Does a longer duration automatically equal a better sexual experience?
This is another area where expectations often don't align with reality.
Okay.
The truth is, there's no magic number
Right.
when it comes to how long sex should last.
Mm-hmm.
The focus on duration often overshadows
Yeah.
the importance of intimacy, connection, and mutual pleasure.
So it's not about trying to hit some specific time goal.
Not at all.
No.
Research suggests that the average satisfying sexual encounter
Okay.
lasts somewhere between 5 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
But again, this is just an average.
Right.
Individual preferences and experiences vary widely.
Of course.
What truly matters is the quality of the connection, the level of intimacy, and the mutual enjoyment that you experience together.
Yeah, I think that takes a lot of pressure off.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something that's often marketed as like a quick fix for size anxieties. And those are those supplements that claim to increase penis size.
Right.
Do those actually work?
This is an area where you really need to be cautious.
Okay.
The vast majority of these supplements lack any scientific evidence to back up their claims.
Oh, wow.
And what's even more concerning
Yeah.
is that some of them may contain ingredients that are potentially harmful to your health.
Oh, so it's buyer beware.
Absolutely. Instead of chasing quick fixes that are unlikely to work
Right.
and might even be dangerous,
Yeah.
focus on building genuine confidence, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and nurturing open communication with your partner.
Right.
Those are the true foundations of a fulfilling sexual experience.
I like that. Okay, let's move on to a question that I think a lot of couples grapple with.
Okay.
How often should they be having sex?
Mhm.
Is there a right answer to that?
This is the million-dollar question, isn't
Yeah.
it? And the truth is there's no magic number
Okay.
or universally prescribed frequency.
Right.
What works for one couple might not work for another.
Of course.
The key is to find a rhythm that feels good for both partners and fosters a sense of connection and intimacy.
So it's all about communication and finding what feels right for that individual couple.
Exactly. Some couples might thrive on having sex multiple times a week,
Right.
while others might be perfectly content with a less frequent pattern.
Yeah.
What matters most is that both partners feel comfortable, respected, and fulfilled.
Okay, what about those times when couples might choose to abstain from sex for a while? Is it harmful to go without sex for a certain period of time?
This is a question that often comes with a lot of baggage and societal expectations.
Yeah, for sure.
Generally speaking, abstaining from sex is not inherently harmful to your physical health.
Okay.
However, it's important to be aware that for some individuals,
Yeah.
a prolonged lack of intimacy can lead to increased stress,
Right.
potential fluctuations in hormone levels,
Okay.
and even impact emotional well-being.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all answer.
Exactly. Individual experiences and circumstances vary widely.
Right.
And just as it's important to communicate with your partner about your desired frequency of sex, it's equally important to communicate about, any changes in desire or periods of abstinence.
Right.
Open and honest dialogue is key.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what about single individuals?
Oh,
Are there still benefits to regular sex, even if it's through self-stimulation?
absolutely.
Okay.
Both partnered sex and self-stimulation can have positive effects on your overall well-being,
Okay.
from releasing endorphins and reducing stress to improving sleep quality and boosting self-esteem.
Wow.
The benefits are numerous,
Okay.
and they apply to everyone, regardless of relationship status.
So it sounds like taking care of your sexual health is just as important as taking care of your physical and mental health.
Exactly. It's all interconnected.
Yeah. Okay, so let's zoom out for a moment
Okay.
and talk about some of the broader health benefits that are associated with regular sexual activity.
Research suggests that regular sex can have a positive impact on your cardiovascular health.
Oh, wow.
It can improve circulation, potentially lower blood pressure, and even reduce the risk of heart disease.
That's impressive.
It's also been shown to boost the immune system, making you more resilient to colds and other infections.
So having sex can actually help you stay healthier in the long run?
It certainly seems that way.
Wow.
And perhaps one of the most significant benefits
Yeah,
is its ability to act as a natural stress reliever.
that makes sense. Sex can be a great way to unwind and just release tension.
Exactly. And reducing stress levels has a cascade of positive effects on both your body and mind.
Right.
It can improve sleep quality, boost your mood, strengthen your immune system,
Mm-hmm.
and even reduce the risk of developing chronic diseases.
So it's not just about the pleasure in the moment, it's about investing in your long-term health and well-being.
Exactly. It's a holistic perspective.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, are there any potential mental health implications associated with abstaining from sex?
It's an important question.
It is. While sex can certainly improve mood and reduce stress
Right.
through the release of endorphins, it's important to remember that there are other paths to well-being.
So you're saying that there are other ways to achieve those feel-good benefits
Absolutely.
if someone chooses to abstain from sex.
Yeah, engaging in regular exercise, practicing mindfulness techniques like meditation or yoga,
Okay.
pursuing hobbies that bring you joy, and nurturing strong social connections can all contribute to a positive mental state,
Right.
regardless of your level of sexual activity.
That's good to know. It means that we have choices and
Mhm.
agency over our well-being regardless of our relationship status
Yeah.
or sexual choices.
Right.
So here's another question that comes up often.
Okay.
Does long-term abstinence actually lower libido?
It's certainly a possibility for some individuals.
Okay.
Reduced sexual stimulation over time can lead to a decrease in libido.
So is it a case of use it or lose it?
Not necessarily, while there might be some truth to that saying.
Okay.
It's not a hard and fast rule.
Okay.
The key is to maintain a healthy lifestyle,
Mm,
manage stress levels, and engage in activities that promote relaxation and well-being.
right.
These practices can help to maintain a balanced libido,
Okay.
even during periods of abstinence.
So again, it just goes back to that idea that sexual health is very much connected to our overall health and well-being.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all part of the same intricate tapestry.
Yeah.
And it's also crucial to remember that the benefits of sexual activity extend far beyond the purely physical realm.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that. What are some of the emotional and relational benefits that sex can offer?
Well, sex can strengthen emotional bonds,
Mm-hmm.
deepen intimacy, and foster a sense of connection and belonging.
Yeah.
It can also be a powerful way to express love,
Yeah.
affection, and desire.
Right.
So, these emotional and relational benefits
Mm-hmm.
are just as important as the physical ones.
That's beautifully said. Okay, so before we wrap up this section,
Right.
let's touch on one more aspect of sexual health
Okay.
that I think deserves more attention, and that is pelvic floor health.
Excellent point. There's a common misconception that long-term abstinence can weaken pelvic floor muscles, especially in women.
Oh, this is something I haven't heard much about before.
It's true that prolonged abstinence might contribute to weakened pelvic floor muscles.
Okay.
However, it's important to note that exercises like Kegels,
Right.
which strengthen these muscles,
Mm.
can be incredibly beneficial for everyone,
Okay.
regardless of their level of sexual activity.
So Kegels aren't just for women who are pregnant or postpartum.
Not at all. They can benefit anyone, regardless of age or gender.
Wow.
Kegels can help improve bladder control, enhance sexual pleasure,
Mm-hmm.
and even contribute to a sense of core stability.
Really?
They're a great investment in your overall health and well-being.
I'm definitely adding those to my routine. Are there any other practices that can support pelvic floor health?
Yes, practices like yoga and mindfulness can also be incredibly helpful.
Okay.
They can increase your awareness of your pelvic floor muscles, improve circulation to the area,
Hmm.
and promote relaxation and flexibility.
This has been such an informative discussion so far.
Yeah, it
I
has.
feel like we've covered so much ground
We have.
and dispelled a lot of myths along the way.
We certainly have, and there's some more to explore
Okay.
as we move into the final part of our deep dive into sexual wellness.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered so much in our exploration of sexual wellness, from debunking myths to addressing all those burning questions that maybe you've had,
Yeah.
but we're too shy to ask out loud.
Right, exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into sexual wellness,
Okay.
what are some of the key takeaways you'd want our listeners to walk away with?
Well, I think, maybe the most important takeaway is that sexual wellness is a journey, not a destination.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ongoing process of, learning self-discovery
Right.
and open communication with your partner.
I love that.
So embrace curiosity,
Oh,
let go of judgment, and allow yourself to kind of evolve as you learn more about yourself and your needs.
yeah. It's about being open to exploring and letting go of those kind of rigid expectations that I feel like society puts on us.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there anything else you would add to that?
Just remember that there are resources available to support you on this journey.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate to reach out to, a healthcare professional or a trusted source for information and guidance,
Right.
whether you're, seeking advice about specific concerns or exploring treatment options or simply just looking for more information. There are people who can help.
That's so important to remember. We don't have to navigate this alone.
Right?
So before we sign off, I have one final thought-provoking question for our listeners.
Okay.
We've talked extensively about, individual aspects of sexual wellness.
Right.
But how do you think societal attitudes and cultural norms influence our understanding and experience of sexuality?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that deserves its own deep dive.
For sure.
It's crucial to be aware of how these external factors like cultural norms, religious beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
media portrayals,
Right.
and even just our upbringing shape our perceptions and behaviors around sexuality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, examining these influences can help us challenge limiting beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
cultivate a more inclusive and empowering view of
Yeah.
sexuality,
Yeah.
and ultimately lead to greater freedom and fulfillment in our own lives.
It's definitely something for all of us to reflect on.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes our deep dive into sexual wellness.
Awesome.
Hopefully you gained some valuable insights, busted some myths, and maybe even sparked some interesting conversations with your partner or friends.
I hope so.
And remember, knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding your own body and sexuality is so empowering.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you for joining us on the deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll catch you next time.
See ya.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep the conversation going.